Bam, you like surprises? Generally, I do, especially when I'm the one surprising, but when the tables are turned on me, not so much. That's why this episode is special. Not just because my girl Joy, actress producer extraordinaire, surprised me by interviewing me, but because my introvert, used to asking all the questions, agreed to do it. Uncomfortable being vulnerable, I followed Joy's lead, and surprisingly, I shared why I'm a poet who never wants to learn how to write a poem, how I value process over inspiration, and why isolation and rejection is a two-headed monster I work hard to overcome. Enjoy two friends having a heart-to-heart about thriving as an artist in Hollywood, fam. After you enjoy our conversation and my work in progress, you'll be encouraged to mind your own life to tell your own story. You'll know how to pre-produce your story before you begin writing, and you'll be clear about the question you should never ask any artist, because it makes us want to pimp slap you in the face. I mean, seriously, don't do it. Hey fam, I'm your host Monice, and welcome to Works in Progress, Conversations with Storytellers.
Oh my goodness. It is so good to see you. Yes. I'm so excited. Okay, let's do it.
Chapter 6, 13th grade, Monice Mitchell Simms. Girl, I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh my God, this is hilarious and funny and beautiful and everything.
So I actually have a surprise for you today.
What?
Today, you're not interviewing. You are being interviewed.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're being interviewed. I want to hear about you.
Oh.
I want to hear about your next project. I want to hear about your process. I want to hear about what makes you happy. So it's time to switch.
Okay.
Let's go. So, Monice Mitchell Simms, welcome to Works in Progress. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So how does it feel to be over there on that side?
I'm not liking this.
You don't like it?
No, it's uncomfortable.
Why?
I was talking to people. That's the power seat. I'm over here being vulnerable and shit.
That's the power seat because you're the guest, so that means you get anything you want. We want to hear about you.
Oh.
We want to hear about your process.
Okay.
We want to hear about what makes you happy and the things that inspires you. So.
Okay. I got that.
Tell me first about what you're working on right now.
Honestly, I'm just working on life. Life is life right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have some family stuff. I spend more time with my family. And this Works in Progress podcast has become such a large part of my life that I wasn't expecting to have in a good way.
Mm.
Yeah. So between my mama and them and the podcast and my husband, I'm staying pretty busy.
Okay. So as a writer, what inspires you?
As a writer, what inspires me? People, life. I'm always that person that's ear hustling.
Oh, so you nosy.
Well, yeah, it's called being curious. It's called being curious. I always like to find the stories in the normal stuff. I was a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, every morning I get up in the morning and I read, the news to see what's going on. And if something catches my eye, I just clip it to my filed folder of all these different ideas and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting idea. That's an interesting story. That's an interesting person. Maybe I'll come back to that, whatever. And I never really know. My subconscious just gets to play with things, and then it becomes something, and I have to remember, where did I find that? And then I realize what the germ of it is. So, I'm inspired just by life. I'm just always looking around and curious. I'm a people watcher. I was that kid in the corner who didn't talk very much, so I saw all the things. All the things.
Oh, that sounds interesting. So you said you were a journalist.
Yes, ma'am.
So I also know you're a novelist.
Yeah.
I know you're a playwright.
Yep.
You're a screenwriter.
Yep. I'm a little busy.
Or a children's book writer.
Right.
You are a poet.
Yes.
And you've been a spoken word artist.
Yeah.
So I think in every genre of writing, you've stepped into that space, right?
Yeah.
So which one makes you the happiest? Which one makes that little girl inside you dance and say, ooh.
That would have to be poetry.
Mm.
Poetry was my first language as a writer. It's the first thing that I wrote. I wrote a poem for my mom when I was about 7 about an apple tree or something. It's the only thing I haven't studied. Everything else, screenwriting, journalism, playwriting, I've taken a class or I've learned the structure and the process behind it. But poetry is just organic for me. I never want to learn how to write a poem. I want it to stay natural to me. So I would guess, no matter what's going on in my life, I'm always writing poetry. I don't perform much anymore, but I still write poetry.
Do you infuse poetry into your writing? Like when you write screenplays or novels, do you feel like you give it a poetic flair?
Poetry is always a part of everything that I write. When I wrote my first novel, it just came out as a poetic rhythm to it. And I don't try to do it. It just happens naturally. So everything I write has this rhythm to it. And it has, not flowery arrangements, whatever, but it's just real intentional. When I write my poetry, I'm very, I streamline my thoughts. So that has become a part of my writing as a screenwriter too.
Okay, so talking about streamlining your thoughts, tell me what's your process? Like how do you, when you first get that inspiration and you're going to streamline this, what's your steps? How do you do it? How do you?
Well, which genre though? It's different for each of them.
Well, I mean, you're so fabulous. So let's pick one, darling. Let's pick one. So let's first, since we know that we're going to be looking at a screenplay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your process for a screenplay.
Well, this was actually a TV pilot that's a part of. And for TV pilots and screenplays, I outline all the time. It doesn't matter if I'm so in love with the idea. It doesn't matter because you don't have a lot of real estate in screenplays and teleplays. You really got to be clear about what you're writing about so you can get to the point fast and not waste time, right? So for me, when I have an idea for a TV pilot or a screenplay, I'd come up with the log line first. And the log line is just a 1 sentence or 2 sentence statement of what your story is about. And if I can't distill it down to 1 or 2 sentences, then I don't write it. I don't care how excited I am about the project. If I'm not clear and I can't explain to you in 1 or 2 sentences what this is, then that's just going to be a big old headache when I start writing.
Really? That's interesting. Okay, wait. So let's say you have, in your spirit, you feel like this is a good story that needs to be told, right? And the story's big. The idea is big. And you're like, right now it's still at like 4 sentences. It's a small paragraph.
Yeah.
You're just going to let it sit to the side until it starts to really crystallize for you?
Absolutely. No matter how in love I am with the project. For me, I have to be able to explain it to somebody very clearly. Because, like I said, you don't have a lot of time in real estate to get this idea out there and you'll get lost. You'll start to fall in love with the story and the characters and things like that. And you're just kind of wandering around. Just like in a novel, you can do that. People will hang in there with you. Like they're following the characters, they're following the story. You can go back and forth in time. You can do all that wonderful stuff. But with a teleplay or a screenplay, you got 10 minutes to get somebody's attention, especially like for readers.
Okay.
The first 10 pages are the most important. And then for viewers, the first 5 minutes, especially now, because people's attention spans are so small, you got to know what this movie's about in 5 minutes. When I came up, I loved like movies of the week, and stuff like that.
I remember those.
I love those quiet movies like The Way We Were and things like that. Those movies aren't being made today because people don't have the patience to wait for things to unfold. They just don't. They don't have it in them. They got to be like, what's this about? What's happening? What's going on? You got to capture their attention. So I just learned to start with the log line first. And then once that's crystallized, then I go to outline. And then once I have a solid outline, then I do a treatment. And then once I have a solid treatment, then I start writing. Yeah. So it's a lot of pre-production, I guess, before you actually start writing. Because like I said, you don't have enough time to be unclear. For me, that's what works for me.
And so outside of writing on a particular project, I've heard people talk about just daily writing and doing things like morning pages, stuff like that. Do you still do that? Or do you just get up and start, but do you get up and start working on your projects? Or do you get up and just allow thoughts and ideas just to freely flow out of you when you get up every day?
I don't do daily pages. I journal sometimes, but I just learned from a friend of mine sitting on this couch on us on the opposite side that I've been journaling wrong. She
Oh.
journals. She journals from about what she wants to happen. I usually journal about what did happen. And it's a totally different process. So now I'm going to adopt like, well, this is what I want to happen type of thing. So that could be like aspirational and a vision board, that type of deal. So I have to get in the practice of doing that again. I used to journal a lot when I was younger. But like I said, I was doing it all wrong. So when I look back on those journals, I'm like, ooh, girl, how did you survive any of this? But for me, I do have to write every day, no matter what it is, whether I'm working on a project or not. I write every day. And it could be 15 minutes. It can be for an hour. If I'm on a project, it could be for longer. But for me, writing is a muscle. So I have to use it every day or I'm going to lose it. It'll atrophy if I don't, and you won't be able to keep going. So even if it's something as small as a list of a to-do list or whatever, or just a germ of an idea, a free-flowing like blah, 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 blah type of deal. I do that every day. And the world is better for it because when I don't, oh my God, I'm so grumpy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So it helps to like regulate your system to write, to get it out.
Oh my God. Yes. You can ask my husband. When I don't write, he can tell. I'm grumpy. Wow. I'm grouchy. It's sort of like I'm constipated if I don't write every day. And constipated people are not friendly to be around.
Yeah. No kind of backup is good. Okay. So when you are free flowing and you're writing,
I like how you did that.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
When you're free flowing and you getting it all out.
Yeah, girl, this metaphor is working for us.
Come on now. And you're getting it all out.
Getting it all out, yes.
When do you say to yourself, I'm ready to go back and do the writing? Because you do the outline, right? Then you do the treatment, and I'm guessing the treatment is free flowing. Right.
Yes, the treatment is prose.
Okay.
So the outline is just like, number one, interior couch, Joy and Monice on the couch, blah, blah, blah. You just really you outline every scene that's happening. And then for the treatment, I write it as a prose, like it's a story. Mm-hmm. And if I can tell the story from the outline, then I know I'm ready to write the screenplay.
Okay. So I'm sure my questions are probably very, very elementary. However, there are going to be people out there in your audience that are advanced and some that are brand new.
Yeah.
So yeah. I am having the brand new conversation.
Go with it, girl.
So when you talk about you're doing the treatment, the outline, Joy and Monice sitting on the couch, and you work out each scene all the way through, and then you go back in and you work the treatment in there. How much level of detail do you give that treatment before you go in and go, now I'm ready to start writing dialogue?
If I'm writing a novel, I go ham. I give all the descriptions and everything that I need, right? When I'm writing the screenplay, I write just enough, because I want to leave some room for the magic to happen. I don't want to overwrite.
Okay.
I don't want to be so burnt out from doing all this process work that by the time I write it, I'm just like, oh, I hate this story. So I leave something for the imagination, for me, because when I've overwritten, by the time I'm writing the screenplay, it's just like paint by numbers, and I'm just like, I really don't care about this anymore, because that translates to the page. If I'm not passionate about it anymore, then the reader's not going to be passionate about it. Then no one's going to make the movie and all this type of stuff. So I just had to learn how to hold back sometimes from overwriting.
Okay, so I know that you also have a trilogy that you've written.
Yeah.
So when you are writing a big story like that, do you know that novel is going to be a trilogy, or does it start with, I'm just writing one novel, but then you start having these little babies that start happening from that one birth? What's that process?
Well, I knew when I wrote my trilogy that I wanted to write about my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. That's why it's a trilogy.
Okay.
But when I wrote my novels, I didn't outline it all, purposely. I was flying by the seat of my pants. And it was very scary because I was so used to the process, the regiment of writing in a certain way, that I just wanted to be free of that. I just wanted to see, can I write without guardrails? And will it come out in a good form? And I would say about 60% of it was good. because the muscle was trained so well that I was already kind of self-correcting and writing in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But then there were other times where it was just would go off the rails. Like you tell a character to do one thing and then she'd go and do something else. I'm like, what the hell?
Right.
That is not what I told you to do.
Okay, so can we talk about that? Because I hear writers say stuff like, well, the character was just speaking to me, or
Oh yeah,
the character.
We sound a little schizophrenic sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tell me, can you describe that? Because my only imagination for it to really kind of feel like I have an understanding is American Fiction, when he's writing and then the actors come to life and we see the scenes being played out when they come up. I'm sure it doesn't happen that vividly in a person's head.
It does.
It does.
That's a very accurate description of what happens in a writer's brain. You visualize the character. They start talking to you. And they're looking at you to say, like, what am I saying next? And then sometimes, like I said, they go off the rails and they just do things that you were not expecting them to do because they become real. And you do live with these people. You live with these characters, right? Mm-hmm. And you want them to become real to a point. But then sometimes as a writer, you got to be like, nah, son, you ain't doing that. This is where you need to go. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can be surprised and follow the character in a different direction. But other times you just have to like say, no, we need to go this way. So it really depends on the story. But for my trilogy, because it was based on my own family and I knew so much, and some stuff I didn't know, I just wanted the character to kind of tell me where we were going. Mm-hmm. And I followed her. Mm-hmm. And I had such a good time doing that because my mother was my reader for the first book. And I would ask her all these questions about, family secrets and stuff. People don't want to talk about that stuff.
Right.
And people didn't want to talk about it. I said, okay, y'all leave it up to my imagination. I might be coming up with something that's totally out of order. They're like, go for it. But ironically, 9 times out of 10, I was always correct in the way the character would go. My great aunt, before she passed, was like, how did you know that? I said, I didn't. I just used my imagination.
Do you feel like you're channeling something?
Yeah, definitely want to write about my family. I started writing a book about my dad from his point of view right after he passed away. And I sent the first couple of pages to my sister and she was like, what the hell? Have you been possessed by daddy? Why are you writing in his voice? It was in his voice. It wasn't me. So yeah, that's one of the greatest things I think when you become possessed by a story and by a character. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't happen often. That's why you need the process, right? Octavia Butler said, don't wait for inspiration. Because inspiration is fickle.
Right.
She come and go. She do what she want to do.
Right.
So you got to be able to have a process to write when you're not inspired.
Okay.
Because sometimes inspiration shows up and you've seen it. The writer ain't showered in 3 days and just churning out pages and stuff like that. And that's what people think writing is. It's not. Most of it is process. Mm-hmm. You don't get inspiration like that often.
So you're saying the first part of your process is just to do it every day?
Yeah, it's like a muscle. Okay. You got people go to the gym every day or go to the gym every week or whatever. Like your body just gets you doing it. And at a certain point, if I don't do that, like I said, I'm mean to my husband, I'm mean to everybody else. and something's off, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like something's off. So sometimes I get frustrated because I'm such in the practice of doing this that even if I want to sleep in, I'll tell myself I want to sleep in. And my body's like, hello. We're supposed to be writing. Yeah, but no, get up. We're supposed to be writing. I'm usually like, what are you doing? We're supposed to be writing.
Right.
So the muscle has been trained so much now that I cannot not get up.
Now, I've seen you gesture like this a couple of times when you talk about writing, right? Yeah, you talk about writing. But we now know everybody's doing this when they write. But I've read different studies that say that things flow better from the brain when you actually put
That's true.
Pen to paper.
Yeah.
Do you find that you flow better when you just write it down with a pen? Or have you gotten to a place in your discipline where it doesn't matter how you're writing, where it just still flows, if you're on a keyboard or if you're on a pad?
Again, that's why I go back to poetry. For poetry, I only write hand. I've never written a poem on a keyboard. That just feels so weird, right? And when I first started writing screenplays, I would write everything out by hand. And then I would type it over. And that's another process. Once you write it out by hand and you type it, then you're editing as you type and stuff like that. But that don't work for deadlines. Okay. When you got like a 90, 120 page script, back in the day it was 120, now it's more like 110, 100. People waiting for that script. So they can't wait for you to write it and then type it up. They like, no, I need you to. So I've learned to just type on the keyboard for my screenplays, but I outline by hand.
Okay.
So I do both things to keep it organic to me. And then especially if it's a deadline, then I'm like, I gotta get on the keyboard and just type it out real fast.
Now I know there's that old-fashioned way of putting it on the postcard, and you've got all the postcards
I
up.
still do that.
Okay, because I know then some people use it in programs.
That's not
where
fun.
they do okay, so you still put them on the wall?
Yeah, I got something around here. I'll be taping stuff all over the wall. Rael's walking around. He's seeing cue cards everywhere. And I'm just taping up things and scenes and stuff like that. I used to have like one of those boards with those push-it pin things.
Right.
And you can move it around. No, people still do that. Even in writers' rooms today, TV writers, when they break a script in a TV room, they do it like that. They still do it the old-fashioned way.
Now, is that your outline process? Like when you have outlined things and you go, okay, this is the interior, this is the exterior, blah, blah, blah. And that's your process of moving things around?
Yeah, that's the outline.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So you can, because it's still a movable thing. It hasn't come into, it's not complete yet. So when you put it on the cards, you can move it around. It's a puzzle. You're putting things together. Like, it's like, oh, this scene, I think it'll work better over here versus over here, and that type of stuff. So I still do that. I still, even if I do the outline on the computer, when I get stuck, I'll do it on cue cards because it's easier to move around that way. And it's tactile, it's visual, that helps.
It's visual.
It's visual. Because when you're just looking at a screen all day, it just feels kind of like, oh, I need to try something else to keep this fun for me.
Now, do you feel like you ever have to get outside of the house to write?
All the time. Well, I can't write outside.
Oh.
I'm not one of them people that go to Starbucks and write. I have friends who can do that, who can write. I got to be in my house, in my same spot. My husband created a spot for me to write. That's the only place I can write now.
Oh, wow.
I will go take a walk, and I will get cocoa from Starbucks, but I ain't writing there.
So would you say walking is your form of self-care? Because I believe that all artists should have a way of making sure that you're filling up your tank, you're taking care of yourself. And some people meditate, some people do yoga, some people do all kinds of things. And I know you just mentioned that you walk. So is that your...
Yeah, I walk all the time. And I rock climb. But I haven't been rock climbing in a while.
You rock climb?
Yeah, girl.
Okay.
Black people rock climb.
Okay. All right.
What I love about rock climbing is that you can't think about anything else. You just have to get up that wall.
But hold up, I need clarity.
What?
Are you rock climbing on rocks or
Girl,
inside?
No, I'm not out in Joshua Tree. No, I'm inside a gym.
Okay.
And I got the thing in.
Okay.
No, not that deep.
Okay.
Not that deep.
Because I was about to say, you talk about, I'm like, that don't sound real black.
I'm not free. It's not. It is not. I love doing things that aren't real black. So rock climbing for me is good because you just can, all you do is have to focus on how to get up this wall. You don't have time to think about if my cell phone will get cut off or what's for dinner. You got to focus on getting up that wall. And then when you get to the top of the wall, you have to get back down the wall. And you could climb back down or you could propel down. So it's a whole thing about faith and exercise as a full body workout or whatever. So between walking and rock climbing, that's how I take care of myself.
So do you want to take a look at your scene that you submitted?
Yeah, but this is weird.
Why? Why? Now you know how everyone else feels.
I know. Yeah, I want to see. Let me see. So the scene that I submitted.
I know, right?
The scene that I submitted is from a TV pilot called 13th Grade. And I wrote this when I, went back to school to get prepare to get my doctorate in sociology. But statistics is still my nemesis, so I don't have it yet.
Okay.
But going back to school after being out of school for 20-some odd years, I'm showing up on campus and I'm older than the professor. I'm older than my classmates. And so I was like a real fish out of water experience. And so I had just read an article about this school cheating scandal, and this professor got caught up in that. And I was like, well, let me see if I took the fish out of water thing and the school cheating scandal then that could be this TV pilot.
Okay.
And that's how it came to be. So it's about this professor, this black woman professor from like a Yale, Princeton type school or whatever. She's suspected of helping her students cheat so she can improve her status and become tenure at this school. And because she's suspected, they banish her to a community college in California.
You've been banished.
They banished her to a community college in California. And it's like the sister school for her Ivy League school. She's banished there, and now she has to teach there to earn the right to go back to her school.
Okay.
But she's so privileged and entitled that she doesn't believe that she should be there or that they even deserve to be around her. So,
and what's the working title of this so far?
13th grade.
13th grade.
Now, 13th grade, that's what they call community college, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that. When I went to school, everybody kept saying, yeah, 13th grade, man. I can't believe I had to come 13th grade. And I'm like, what is 13th grade? They're like, well, community college is kind of like right after high school. That's where you go to prepare to go to a 4-year university.
Okay.
And I was like, that's a great title. And so that's how I came up with this.
Okay. So, roll it. 13th grade.
Exterior, Lancer City College faculty parking lot. Afternoon. Chelsea is still waiting, and Brandy still wants her anywhere but here. Thunder rumbles in the clouds. Chelsea looks up, touches her weave, concerned.
Weather reports didn't forecast rain.
It never rains in Southern California.
Chelsea glances at Brandy's books stacked on the counter next to her.
I've seen you read 3 different books since you towed my car this morning. Are you taking those classes?
I didn't tow your car, Gus did.
Semantics. The books.
Not that it's your business, but I'm auditing these classes.
All 3 of them. Why not just register and earn the credits?
Last time I registered for something, the only credits I earned was shrapnel in my leg.
Oh. Dean Wang told me you were a veteran. Thank you for your service.
You didn't mean that.
How do you know what I mean?
Because nobody means it. It's just something civilians say because they think they should.
Well, I resent being called a civilian and generalized as such. I am an
Ivy League professor.
Yes, and I never think I should say anything.
Brandy snorts. Chelsea seethes, realizing her mistake.
What is your problem?
I don't have one.
Yes, you do. Something's wrong with you. I've treated you nothing but fairly.
Fairly? You made up your mind about me as soon as you saw me.
No, I didn't.
I'm a white girl working a parking booth. You're telling me you didn't think I was a trailer park pill popper?
Opioid addiction is a national crisis, Brandy, and no one should pass judgment.
But it's all right to assume I sleep in a MAGA cap and have a tiki torch under my bed.
Chelsea's silence is her answer.
Wow.
Oh, don't wow me. You made judgments about me as well. African-American female professor, I check all the boxes. So my luxury vehicle, the one you had towed, the only reason I can afford it is because affirmative action gave me a leg up.
This time, silence is Brandy's answer. Lightning flashes. Chelsea swipes a campus newspaper off Brandy's counter, holds it over her head.
Oh, no. This hair cost me $2,000. Oh, when is Gus coming back?
Privilege is a hell of a drug.
Have you not been listening, Brandy? I am not privileged.
Really? You parked in a spot that clearly didn't belong to you because you're entitled to priority parking. Then, it's so unfair. Your car gets towed, and instead of preparing to fix the class you should be teaching, but feel that you're too good to actually teach, and everyone on campus knows you bombed, you're here harassing me, demanding your car back that never would have been towed if you hadn't believed you didn't have to follow the rules. That about sum it up.
Thunder rumbles. End of scene.
Okay.
Okay. That was great. Okay, so tell me what you think.
When you have something living in your head for so long, I've workshopped a lot of my projects, but I never have done anything with this one.
Mm.
So this is the first time that I've ever seen it or heard it back to me, and I there was one joke I know I can fix. There's one joke I think I could fix, but it feels like you know what's weird? What's going on in the world right now?
Mm.
That just feels very current, even though I wrote this so many years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it feels very current to me, which makes me feel good because with a TV pilot, you always worry about what samples you want to send out and which ones are going to hit. And this is one that I've never really used as a sample. And it feels like this is the time to use this sample.
Did you discover anything in the writing that makes you feel as though, oh, I can adjust this or change that besides the one joke? Or
I think Brandy's speech might need some trimming. I saw there was a spot where I think it might have been a double beat, or I was trying to cram too much into the sentence, I think. So I think I would trim that one line from Brandy's speech. Yeah, because it is pretty streamlined already for me, but I think it could be trimmed even a little bit more.
now, for those of us that are new writers,
Yeah.
can we talk about a double beat?
Well, a double beat is when you've already made your point,
Okay.
and then you say it again in a different way.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So, August Wilson,
Yeah.
he does that consistently in every single play, right? So can that
But does he do it? Does he do it back to back though? It's one thing to do it in the same scene where a character is revisiting the same thing.
Okay.
But for like a sentence and then another sentence,
Yeah.
he does it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's an August Wilson, like it's become an August Wilson thing, right? So is that a tool, could be a style of writing that, I don't want to get into August Wilson conversation because I know he didn't really study writing. He just started writing. So it could be something that he,
And this is also playwriting.
right.
Because August is very rhythmic,
Right,
right?
right, right.
And then it's sort of like a poet, like it's very rhythmic. And I remember when I wrote my novel, coming from the spoken word poetry background, things in my novel repeat.
Okay.
And my agent at the time was like, yeah, the editors are kind of like, is she doing that on purpose, or does she not know she's doing it? And I was like, no, I'm doing it on purpose.
Okay.
Because I knew what I was doing there, right? But going back to the conversation of TV and how TV and screenplays are different, you don't have a lot of time to do double beats.
Okay.
Like you got to use every sentence in the script to make your point and then move on to the next point. Because time is money. And if you're doing like maybe something like high profile with a big budget or something like that, but this is a TV pilot. I see it like as a single camera TV pilot, and something along the lines of like Community back in the day or Abbott Elementary and things like that.
Okay.
Like, so this is how the dialogue goes.
Keep it clipping.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Precise. So
Yes.
if there's too much fat in there, just trim the fat.
Trim it.
Okay.
Trim it. Trim it so you can get to either the laugh or the point or something. So there are some points in, like, Chelsea's conversation is real poignant, but Brandy, she's saying a lot in that one sentence and that one little paragraph. Even when you see it on the page, it's a lot. So I'm just like, I just need to trim the fat there some more so that it will land more and hit Chelsea even harder.
And so when you mentioned rewriting or clarifying that joke, are there tools or tips or a method of writing a joke? Like, is there like...
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I'm not like, I'm more of a dramedy writer.
Okay.
So sometimes dramedy is really hard to get tone wise. And because of that, I have to be really clear in what my characters are saying, how they're saying it. And sometimes I have to put things in parentheses, like sarcastically, wittily or something like that, just so that people can get it, because it can read straight, right? But someone's being snarky. And if you don't put that in there that they're being snarky, then the joke won't land the way you want it to land because it's not delivered in the proper way.
You know, watching this, I really appreciate what you did in terms of flipping the the tropes that we normally give
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, the African American woman was the woman who was more affluent. The Caucasian woman was the woman who is working an average, middle class, not middle class, but an average
Working class.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
A working class job.
Yeah.
And the Black woman is struggling with the idea of somebody saying she's privileged, right?
Yes.
So did that come from something that you saw on campus, or did that just come from what you imagined that college scandal to be like because she had such a high profile job? Like, where did the idea of bringing privilege into the conversation come from?
I love flipping the script on what people think or how it should go, right? I don't really recall the race of that actual case, but I'm sure they were white people, right? And so I just started thinking about, when you think about privilege, you think privilege is just about white privilege. But there's class privilege, there's gender privilege, there's so many different types of privileges. And Brandy, actually, that character came to me first. The one who was working in the parking booth came to me first because I went to Pasadena City College, and a lot of my classmates were veterans. PCC is one of the largest community colleges that veterans can go to, so they can decide how they're going to get to the 4-year college, right? So a lot of my classmates were veterans, and listen to them talk about their identities and their journeys, and how people don't really mean it when they say thank you for your service, and how they were really working class, kids. And these were kids. These were like 20-something-year-old kids who had seen battle and been to war and things like that. And they are working these jobs, just trying to figure their lives out. So I wanted to flip it because we don't get to really, as Black people, get to talk about privilege so much, right? And I thought it'd be funny to see it come from that point of view, because I knew the veterans' point of view. A lot of the students that were there in my classes and everything, they were white, working class, poor, white, working class people. So I wanted to play with that. I wanted to play with the tropes that people are used to having. And that's just what I do in my normal life as a writer. I always flip the script. When you think it's going to go one way, I'm like, what if we did it from this point of view? Because point of view is so important. I think people just get stuck on one way of doing things, point of view wise. And that's what makes the stories uninteresting, because you're so used to seeing it the same way. So for me, I just wanted to do something different. That's something that made me laugh. And
So, as an actor, I love working on things that have social commentary.
Yeah. Was it too heavy-handed though?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I was kind of like, is this too on the nose? Or?
Because it has humor in it. I think if it didn't have the humor, then it might be a little like, where's this going?
Message.
Right, exactly. Right. So I like smart commentary in that way. And you having been a journalist, I know that commentary, you already said that you look at the news and you pull a page out of that. How do you ever think about just writing something that has no message or no commentary? Do you ever, because there's a lot of stuff out there that's just like pure entertainment that goes nowhere.
I honestly don't think I can. I don't do it on purpose. I'm not like, oh my God, I'm going to change the world with this. But because of my background as a journalist, as that quiet girl in the corner that was always observing things, I write things from levels. There's always something deeper beneath what I'm saying. And I just like to get people to think differently about stuff. And if I can, that's why I'm getting my degree in sociology. One day I will be Dr. Monice, because that's what sociologists do. They look at the world and they examine it and they study it and they tell people like, well, this is what's happening. And as storytellers, that's what we do.
Right.
I realized I've been a sociologist my entire life.
Right.
But I was just doing it through the lens of telling stories. So for me, my stories will always have some message in it. Sometimes it'll be overt like this, but sometimes it'll be sneakier. But I don't know how not to write without a message. I just don't want to be like, message. I don't want to do that.
Right. And people don't want to see that.
No, they don't want to see that.
So in terms of your thoughts, hopes, dreams, vision for, I know, right?
That's a lot.
For the future of storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you, when you daydream and you go,
blue sky. I call it blue sky.
oh, blue sky.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I like that. So are you writing in the blue sky?
Hey, the clouds are my blue sky, boo-boo. Yes.
Okay, so tell me, what's in your blue sky for the future of writing and narratives and how stories will be told?
Well, I just want people to appreciate storytellers more. Like, understand that we make the world go round. The world revolves around stories. The stories we tell each other, the stories we say about each other. And it's important. I mean, think about the pandemic and COVID, right? When we all shut down and Netflix made all that damn money, but that's another conversation. What kept us going? We were looking at everything. We needed to escape. So I think a lot of times, especially in this business, in Hollywood, if you're not at a certain level, they think that what you're doing is not important. But you got to keep telling your stories because there's somebody out there that needs to see it, needs to hear it. Somebody will find it. I still have people finding my books and they're like, I just found your book at the library. It's amazing. And I didn't write that story for necessarily.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute.
Oh, what happened? What'd I do?
My friend is in the library. Okay, keep going.
Yes. I'm in the library. And I've had people find my books in the library. My children's book is in Africa. It's been to Ghana and Senegal. And I didn't write it for children in Africa, you know. But when you write from a real place, it becomes universal. And that's what I want people to understand, that storytellers matter, diverse stories matter, different point of views matter. Because once we read somebody else's story and walk in their shoes, then you understand them a little bit more, right? Mm-hmm. You don't hate them as much. You're not as afraid of them as much. And if you can open up your viewpoint to like experience different stories, I think the world would be a better place. I want people, I mean, because if you even think about the negative stuff that has grasped us and got us in a stranglehold, that's because of the story. Mm-hmm. It's a story that the world is so negative that this is going to happen, the bad things are going to happen. That's a bad story. And people are understanding that. So I want people to just appreciate storytelling. So if you have a little girl or if you got a grandmama or somebody and they're like, I want to write a book and don't poo-poo them. Support them. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm blessed that I had those people in my life who I was that little kid in Detroit writing poems, being weird. While everybody's going to work at the factory, and I'm like, I want to be there. Like, okay, let me find somebody for you, baby. Let me get Miss So-and-so at the church. She said you could do a Sunday play. Okay, you know, You got to have people to affirm that. That's important, and it's not, if it doesn't make money right away, if it doesn't become a box office hit, you know, people are like, why are you doing this? Really? Mm-hmm. Like one of the questions that I really hate getting from people is, are you still writing? What? Mm-hmm. What do you mean, am I still writing? Like, this is not only my job, but it's my calling. So that's like me saying to you, are you still playing basketball? You would never say to LeBron James, even though maybe he need to retire, but you wouldn't say that to him, right? You still playing ball?
Or are you still acting?
Are you still acting, right?
I'm acting like I like you right now. The fact that you ask me, I'm acting. I'm acting like that doesn't hurt my feelings.
Exactly. Why do they do that, Joy? Why do they think they can ask artists that question?
Mm-hmm. It's almost like they feel as though, this is my imagination, that there is a timetable on dreaming. There's a timetable on pursuing what your heart's desire. And so if you haven't accomplished what they think success looks like. Right. Because success is relative. Right. They think it looks like, then they go, well, are you still doing that? And sometimes when I hear people say stuff like that, I actually, like, my heart kind of breaks for them.
Oh, because they're not dreamers.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're doing something that's really safe. Yeah. That's going to allow them to attain the things that they feel as though they have to have, the tangible things. but it has nothing to do with their true joy, their true happiness, what makes their spirit light up. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
And, this is kind of off topic, but not.
Okay.
I was talking to my daughter the other day about, goal setting, because I saw this thing on Instagram where somebody said, when you become an adult and you're like 22 years old, you're really only a 2-year-old adult.
Okay. Huh?
Because you just left the teens. You were 19.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you're really only a 2-year-old adult.
A 2-year-old adult.
Right? You only been doing it for 2 years.
First of all, that's a great movie title. The 2-year-old adult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can definitely see somebody playing that part.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you look at it in that perspective, it kind of changes that whole idea of I'm supposed to be at this, accomplished all these things by the time I'm 28.
Yeah, there is a clock on success. There's a clock on dreaming. There's a clock on anything creative. There seems to be a clock on.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is what I've learned. I'll never stop writing. I'm going to write until the day I die.
Mm-hmm.
And I can. That's what art is about. You can keep growing and learning and growing as an artist, as a writer. But we've been trained that, you work a job. Well, things are different now, but you work a job and then you retire from that job and then you're retired.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm never going to retire from doing this.
Right.
We're never going to retire from doing it.
So let me ask you, what's the most difficult part of being a writer?
Difficult part.
Mm-hmm. The most challenging.
The most challenging part of being a writer for me personally is the rejection and the isolation. Those two things kind of go hand in hand because as a writer, unless you're a TV staff writer, but I've always been a feature writer or a playwright, which is like just me in my head, in my pajamas, making up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get so isolated that you're not actually outliving your life. You're not living off the page. And so if you're putting everything into your art and you're getting constantly rejected at the same time, that can be heartbreaking. I've had to learn how to balance. That's why I walk. That's why I rock climb. That's why I volunteer teaching girls in prison, because I'm like, I got to get outside of myself. So this isn't the only thing that matters. I got to spend time with my mama now. I have to go take vacations with my husband. This can't be the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to learn that as I got known. In your 20s, you go hard. You're going hard in the paint because you're trying to get that Oscar at 28. That's what you're trying to do.
See?
And then when that don't happen.
You're only a 6-year-old adult.
And so when that doesn't happen, you feel some kind of way. So my 30s were kind of depressing for me because I was hoping that I would get something by 28 that I didn't get. So then I spent the 30s mourning that I didn't get that. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of working a job and doing what I had to do. But then when I hit 40, the light bulb went off for me again. And I was like, okay, listen, life isn't promised to anything, to anybody, I mean. So if you really gonna do this thing, recommit, dig deep, figure out how you can do this. How can you, and there's no manual for artists over 40. Because in this world, if you don't make it by the time you're 28, then you need to go get yourself a real job. Mm-hmm. So for me to keep being an artist in my 40s and my 50s, I am making this stuff up as I go. But I'm enjoying the process so much more. I'm enjoying it so much more.
Okay, so this is a good segue. What's your advice for somebody who is coming to writing late? Like they didn't go to college for it. They did their regular job.
Yeah.
And now they feel like I've got a little bit more time to myself. I'm an empty nester. My kids are gone or what have you. They're in their 40s or they're in their 50s. What advice do you have to them about getting started as a writer?
Write every day. Mind your life. That's the great thing about, because when you're in your 20s.
Wait, pause.
Oh.
Mind your life?
Mind your life.
Come on now.
Because when you're in your 20s, you're really just making the shit up, honestly. There was no depth to what I was writing in my 20s. I hadn't lived enough, because what was I, a 2-year-old adult, like you said? So I hadn't lived enough. But when you're in your 50s, you've experienced some real life. Mm-hmm. You got some real good stuff at the end. And you have the gift of perspective. That's such a gift that you can write about your 20s from looking at it backwards, right? So there's something in your life that you need to tell that story about from a grown-ass person's perspective. Mm-hmm. So mind your life and write every day and protect your gift. If this is when you're supposed to be writing, then the phone is off. Sorry. I can't talk right now. I'm writing. I've had to learn to protect that gift. And I have a wonderful, understanding husband because he knows even though I'm just staring off into space, I'm working. Because this is the time when I'm supposed to be writing, right? So it's never too late to tell your story, to write your story. It's never too late independent publishing is amazing now. You can get your story out there to be seen. But don't worry about that. Just write it first. Just write it because somebody's waiting for it. I guarantee you.
Wow. Okay, so with that being said, I'm Joy DeMichelle, and I am talking to my friend Monice Mitchell Simms, the host, executive producer, and the writer of 13th Grade and many, many other things. And the big takeaway today is Mine Your Life. I'm taking that.
You taking it?
I'm going to do that.
If it becomes a New York Times bestseller, though, I need my cut.
No, I'm not going to write it. I'm just going to do it.
Oh, you're not going to write it? Okay, got it.
I'm just going to do it because it's you're basically telling people be reflective.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Introspective. Think about your life and really, that's a life lesson.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Monice. Yeah. And this is Works in Progress, and
that wasn't so painful. Bam, I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much for supporting Works in Progress. See you next time.